Hey y'all, what's up? My name's Kelsey K, otherwise known as Kelsey K MUA, and I wanted to thank you so much for being here today. So, today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to be talking so much about beauty and makeup. We are actually here to talk today about business and body language and how all of this kind of relates to how you think and feel about yourself. So, really quick, I want you to go ahead and pause this video. I have a link to a fabulous TED Talk by Cuddy. She is actually a social scientist and teaches at the College of Business at Harvard. So go ahead and pause this video really quick, watch that video, and then come back and then we'll jump right into it. Did you watch the video? Yes? No? Okay. So if you didn't, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a quick recap. So like I said, Cuddy is a social scientist and teaches at Harvard University, where she teaches at their College of Business. So basically what Amy's TED Talk was about is about how your body language influences your brain chemically. So if you're sitting kind of like reserved and quiet, here, let me zoom out a little bit. So if you're more reserved and quiet, you're sitting hunched over, or you're like closed off, like it's going to influence how you feel about yourself. So now we're not just talking about body language in an essence of to see if maybe somebody's lying to you. No, we're talking about what actually happens in your brain when you're sitting or standing closed off and like, like touching your neck, like protecting yourself. What actually happens to you when you're doing that? So in Amy's TED Talk, she goes on to talk about how even in the animal kingdom, animals, they open up when they want to feel more powerful. Like when a snake is about to bite, if a cobra, it like opens up. When a bird wants to attack, it like flaps its wings. Like this is just kind of what happens even in nature. So what happens to us when we're closed off versus when we're open and prideful? So the way that this has kind of worked out for me in my personal life is that when I think about where I am now and where I've been, it's a huge difference. I think about who I was when I was a teenager. In high school, all I wanted to do was just blend in. I just wanted to not really be noticed. I didn't really care about what else went on other than my grades. I was like, okay, I just gotta go to school, get good grades, come home, and just try to live my life. Whereas now, I feel like I have so much more confidence now than I did when I was 17. If you had told me at 16 years old that by the time that I was 23, I was going to be married, have my own house, and be working at Victoria's Secret, and I would have been like, ha, you're funny. You are so freaking funny. Like, what? No, I'm not gonna work at Victoria's Secret. Like, they would never hire me. Like, what? I'm never gonna, like, get married. I felt like I was kind of a loser. I was like, boys don't like me. Like, ugh. And, I'd never really thought about even, like, owning my own house, let alone with somebody else, So when I thought about what type of body language that I was exhibiting when I was younger versus the type of things that I do now, it's completely different. Now, and I'm also not just talking about posture too, because my posture is terrible. I catch myself all the time just like really like schlumping, like shoulders forward, like really caveman like. And I sit here and think to myself like, girl, would you sit up? Like sometimes I just want to like smack myself and be like, girl, sit up straight. Otherwise we're gonna have to buy a back brace, and I don't want to have to do that because that's extra money that I just don't want to have to spend. So how you think and feel about yourself matters. Your mental health matters. You matter. And the reason that you are able to communicate this to the people around you and to yourself is through your body language. Henry Ford said something very important that I say to myself literally almost every single day. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So our body can influence our minds, and then our minds can influence our actions, and then our actions influence our lives. What happens so like say for example when I'm at work, I mean, If you've ever been to a Victoria's Secret at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, or just like any store in general, like any mall, like whatever, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or like between 2 and like 5 in the afternoon on a Saturday, like it's crazy. Like there's people everywhere, there's like stuff on the floor, like you go into any store, that's just kind of the way it happens in retail. Like it's busy and you know, you lose track of it. When there's like 4 or 5 people that need my attention all at the same time, it is so stressful. Oh my gosh. If you are ever in a store and you see an associate who's like running around like a chicken with their head cut off and you need something, please, for the love that is all is good in this world, please make sure that you are polite to them. If you literally see someone struggling to try to do what they're trying to do, don't add to that by being rude because it literally just makes things worse for that person. So coming from my background to a point where I've had a lot of anxiety issues in my life, really thinking about my body language really influences how I do my job. Because if I go, you know, going into the store and being like, oh, like I don't want to do it, like, oh, like, you know, it's only going to make my experience at work worse, you know, and nobody wants that. I want to be powerful, and not powerful in an essence of, you know, demeaning someone else. I want to feel powerful in the fact that I feel like I am in control. I'm in control of my life. I'm in control of my actions. I am in control of whatever is going on the sales floor that's within my power to control. And I have to know that, because if you don't know what you're in the control of, you can't have success, because if you don't know what you can control or what you're in control of, there's no sense to it. So you have to be in control of you, not just your emotions. So Amy also talks about cortisol and testosterone. So when you're in a high stress situation, your cortisol goes up and your testosterone goes down. Men and women both have levels of testosterone. However, of course, a woman's testosterone levels are obviously going to be a lot lower than a man's, just because it's basic chemistry and blah, blah, blah. However, when you're in a high power pose, your testosterone level goes up and your cortisol levels go down. When you're in a low power pose, your testosterone levels go down and then your cortisol levels go up. Think about every single day when you're sitting there slumped over, and like, not only are you conveying that message to someone else that like, oh, okay, like they don't seem very confident, they don't seem like they would be good at doing whatever I need them to do, because so many businesses nowadays need people who are open, not just extroverted. Because when you think about someone who's an extrovert, you think of someone who's like a social butterfly, and they're loud and they're like not obnoxious, but they're outgoing. But people who are introverted can be outgoing as well. It's all about how they draw their energy. So someone who is extroverted, and after a long busy day, they tend to go out, they want to be with other people, they want to do things around others. But when someone who's introverted, the way that they get their energy is, you know, they want to be by themselves. And it's not necessarily in a like, oh, I just don't want to be around other people type thing. It's just they like to relax in a different way. However, on a bad day, they do the complete opposite. So someone who's extroverted, at the end of a bad day, they're like, I just want to be by myself, don't talk to me, I don't want to do anything, just nah. And then someone who's introverted is gonna like dial the phone and be like, oh my gosh, did you hear what so-and-so just did? Ah! Like, so you tend to do the opposite. So when you think about how your body language not only influences other people around you and how they view you, what is how your body language saying to yourself in your mind? Is it conveying a powerful message to yourself? Do you feel the way you look? And sometimes I feel like it kind of all ties into beauty, because when I walk around with no makeup on, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like trash. So then I feel like trash. And then even though I might not actually look like trash without makeup on, I mean, I don't think that I'm ugly. I don't think that I'm ugly without makeup on. I don't feel like I'm only beautiful when I have makeup on. No, that's not the case. I just feel more like myself, and I'm able to exert the way that I feel on the inside when I have on a full face. But at the same time, I could do like a whole like no makeup look and still feel beautiful. Like, for example, I actually just went out to breakfast this past Sunday with my in-laws. We had a great time, but I had all of like 5 minutes to get ready because I overslept, and we were like, okay, we need to leave like now. So obviously I don't have time to put on like a full face of makeup. So I just had on a little bit of primer, some powder foundation, a little bit of bronzer, a little bit of highlight, put on some brows and mascara, and I was out the door. And my mother-in-law was like, oh my goodness, like, you see, like, you're so pretty without all that makeup. And I'm just like, I'm still wearing makeup. And she was like, oh. But it's all about how it makes me feel, and not necessarily that I feel worse about myself when I'm not wearing a full face. I first moved to a new position at work that involved me having to get up like super duper early. I wasn't wearing a full face of makeup to work. So I had so many of my coworkers that are like, are you okay? Like, are you sick? Like you don't look too good right now. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm just not wearing makeup. Like, leave me alone. Oh, but I knew that their intention was not to offend me. It was just, they've never, most of the people that I work with had never seen me without makeup on. It was kind of crazy. So when you think about how you draw your energy and how you are exerting your energy and how you feel on the inside and how that is exerted to the outside world, is it a good thing? Is it a positive message? And not in a positivity versus like a positive versus a negative. I'm talking about how if you feel good about yourself on the inside, is that message conveyed to the people around you? Is how you feel about yourself chemically in your brain, is that influenced by external factors such as like, stress from outside, or is it caused by just something in your own brain, just something as simple as like, closing yourself off and feeling small? So what I've been doing to help myself on a daily basis is thinking about these high power poses, doing like that Wonder Woman pose that she talks about where you kind of like feel strong and powerful, or like, sitting like laid back at the desk and putting like your feet up on the desk. Obviously you don't want to do that when you're going like into an interview or something, because that'd be bad. But think about doing those things, maybe like if you're sitting out in your car before you go into an interview, or if you have a big meeting or something, you have a big presentation, thinking about doing a high power pose for 2 minutes and how that is going to influence your life, because it has definitely influenced my life on a more positive emphasis. When I know that it's going to be like a busy day and I'm going to have to take control of things that are going on around me, I do my 2-minute power pose. I'll either do like the Wonder Woman pose before I go in, or if I'm just sitting out in my car, I'll kind of like put my legs up on the dash and listen to some music and just kind of like relax. I'm just like, okay, I feel powerful, because power sometimes can come from within. It doesn't necessarily always have to come from your external role. It comes from how you feel about yourself. So my challenge to all of you is this week, try a 2-minute power pose. Think about how these power poses are going to affect you and your life and your success. And if you feel like there's been a huge difference, I want to know about it down in the comments. However, really quick before I go, I actually do want to give a big, huge shout out, a huge thank you. I don't know if they're actually going to be watching this. I kind of hope you do. Professor Hartke, who actually showed us the video in managerial communications on the video about Amy Cuddy. Thank you so much for bringing that into my life, and thank you so much to Professor Wheeler, who taught me so much about the differences between extroverts and introverts, and kind of where I found out where I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. But thank you so much again to Professor Hartke and to Professor Wheeler at the University of Michigan Dearborn. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you and everything you guys taught me. Well guys, I think that is just about it for today's video. Please let me know if you liked it. If you did, go ahead and give me a big ol' thumbs up. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel so you can see more videos of me doing stuff like this. I love you so much. See you in the next video.